All
Okay.
right, guys. Welcome. I want to welcome everybody and thank you for showing up. Yvonne and I were we're not really pod groups, but we were in SSLS with Kristen Moss, and we both got certified as a coach. So we practiced with each other a lot, and we still practice with each other because you're never perfect at it. So um practice makes progress is what Kristen Boss would say. Um, so we've become very good friends, and she offered to do this for us, and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm gonna go ahead, and this is Yvonne, and go ahead and turn it over to her.
Great. Well, hi everyone. If you're just joining us, put your top two colors in the chat. It's always interesting for me to see where where everyone is. I am really interested in personality, so I've done all kinds of personality tests, right? Like I've done Enneagram, I've done human design, I've done the DISC, I've done, I don't know, whatever you've done the love language, you've done all kinds of different personalities. This one is the one that makes the most sense to me. So it was written by one of our team, not personal team, but our company's brand partners, and it made a lot of sense. Hi, Flory, Sheila, hi, Jody. I see you guys. And Karen and Michaela, I see you guys all here. So it's really interesting because now I can go through the store, or I'm in line at grocery outlet, which I'm at all the time, and I can say, oh, that lady's green, that lady's red, that guy's blue, and that guy's yellow. I can tell without even talking to them. I can just watch them walk in the store and go, oh, that's my blue person, whatever, right? So I'm going to explain this a little bit more to you.
Name this code?
So we're gonna, hopefully, if everyone can mute, that would be great. So I learned about Jacob Adamo. Oh, I'm supposed to share the screen. Okay, so you can see I'm blue, right? So hang on real quick. Hang on real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay. I can do two things at once. So here we go. Oh shoot, where'd it go? Are you seeing anything? Do you guys see anything?
We see
Yeah.
the full spectrum success, living and leading in true color.
Okay, good. So look at the slide, don't look at me, because I gotta face the paper, not you guys. So anyways, I guess the thing is you can look at color personalities, and it's a good way for you to be better at communicating. It's a good way for you to understand your kids. It's a good way to understand your spouse, your parents, your friends, and your team. And so I think when we're in network marketing, we're always trying to feel out our audience, right? And so it's nice to kind of know who's on your team so you can help them grow and help their colors blossom into like the best version of that color. Um, and it's also good so that you know you're not trying to push someone into a corner, because all the colors have like a good side to it and a not so good side to it. So it's good to understand where you're coming from and the motivation of your color so you can be a good leader, a good wife, a good mom, a good daughter, good friend, whatever, right? So um, think about colors so that you can love on other people and talk in the language that they need to be spoken to. It's not about getting people to like you or to buy from you. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Jacob Adamo says, master yourself to better serve others. And that's where, Jennifer and I talk about this all the time. How are we serving other people? Is it really my agenda, or is it really their agenda? So if you think about colors, it's like learning a new language. Does anyone speak another language? If you speak another language, you had to kind of learn it. It didn't just pop in your head and like the next day you understood it. So think about learning it like Spanish or whatever, and it's learning how to best communicate with others the best way they already know and are familiar with. So you're kind of stepping into their world and speaking to them on their language. You'll probably hear people say, oh, reds are really bossy and they're real jerks. Greens are really stiff. Blues are so goofbally, and yellows are doormats. That is not true. There's very many generalizations, and every color has an amazing personality. And every person is a color, and every color is a person. So you can morph your color as you grow. Your color might be, you might have answered the colors from when you were raised as a child. You might have answered the colors as a business person. You might have answered the colors as the person you are yesterday. And you might take the test in another 3 months and go, huh, that's really different. So think about finding your color so you can let it shine, not to impose your color on other people. If you squelch other people's true colors, then you're not allowing other people to be their best version of themselves. I know that's a cliche, but it's really, really how this works. So the goal of knowing colors is to communicate. And it's not about getting your point across, it's about being understood and understanding other people. And that makes you a better leader. And it makes you understand what people's needs are, so then you can help them solve their problems, right? So we're all in network marketing. We all have a product to share, but people have different reasons for why they want our stuff. So think about 3 levels of each color. There's a troublesome shade, which is kind of like the immature side of us. The typical shade, which is kind of where we all are, like our even keel when we're doing our best. And then there's our true shade, which is our goal. It's kind of like us at the ultimate best version. So you might be at 3 different levels in the same day, and that's okay. So I know we have some reds. Okay, now I got to remember how to do this next. Okay, so here's reds. I want to see, like, does this kind of resonate with you guys that are red? You guys, your keyword is power. Your key question is what? What do I get? What will it take to get there? What's in it for me? What can I do? What are the rewards? What are the risks? What is the worth? What can you do for me? What can I do for you? So you inspire through leadership. This is your strength. You're driven by goals and an objective. So as leaders, you're very, very confident. You're very driven and very determined, and you don't back down very easily. You are like going from point A to point B, and you're like, I'm going to do this to get here, and this is what I'm going to do. And sometimes you can tell people, you should do it too. And they're like, well, wait a minute, right? So sometimes we kind of have to watch out as Reds that being decisive, responsible, proactive, and assertive is not how every other color operates. It's how you operate, and that's great. You get things done. Achievement matters. So like rewards, like winning the trip or winning the prize or getting your rank announced, like those are big deals to Reds. They like to see their names in the lights. You love to win. If there's a competition, you're going to go for it. You're probably going to make a competition if there's not a competition, just so you can be in it. It's all about the competition. You're the go-getter. You love to fill out forms. You love to comment that you did it. And you love accountability groups, because then you can see, like, I did this, I did this, I did this, I got a check-off list. It's really about, like, what do I need to do? You're not lazy at all. I don't think there's a lazy bone in your body, and you don't understand why people don't choose to do something with your life. And that's hard, right? For a Red, because you push yourself to improve, and you're telling people, I'm improving, I'm doing this. You know facts, you can debate things, and you can convince others about what you know. You forge your own path, and you really don't care what other people think of you, because you're just going to go past it. You're like, I'm competent, I'm going, this is who I am. So your results are you are very results driven. You're not so much focused on the process. You're like, I see point A and I see point B, and I'm just going to get from here to here. So think about your projects, think like what you want 10 years ahead. And the funny thing is, Reds can lie because you're so confident and everyone believes you. They're like, well, okay, she knows what she knows. I'm just going to believe her. You're really good leaders, and you take charge often before you gauge the situation and other people. But that also leads to running over other people and alienating people, because you're listening to your goals and you're not listening to theirs. So Reds also think, well, I'm doing it this fast or this way. Everyone else should do it this fast or this way. So kind of keep that in the back of your head as a leader, and just kind of monitor your way of doing things and focus on finding what motivates other people, challenging other people, helping them find an action that helps them get to their goal. Give people credit for their achievements. Just a lot of the things that you like also help you with your team. Communication style, you're really good at initiating conversation. Sometimes you're a one-way communicator because you like to tell people to do stuff, right? Like, this is what I think you should do. This is how you should do it. This is how I'm doing it. And so people might feel intimidated by you, but that's okay. Our red leaders really want results. They want to experience variety, and they want a lot of challenges. They want to solve problems, and they want direct answers. They don't go through all the chit chat and like the how are you, all that kind of stuff. They're like, okay. So like when Jennifer and I coach, she's like, okay, what do you want to work on today? Right? Like, that's what we're here for. We're just going to get down to business. We don't really need all the other fluff, which is fun, right? It's like, we know what we have a certain time, we're going to get work done. So other colors might think that you're very impatient, that you're blunt, and that you're demanding. So you kind of just keep that in the back of your head. Know what color you're talking to, and I will go through that so that you can kind of gauge how you might be perceived by other people. Think about how you want rules and how people do or don't follow rules. You may break the rules to get to your goal, and other people might not do that. You might be so focused on your goal that you're insensitive to other people's feelings because you see the goal and you're like, let's just go for the goal. You sometimes might run over people who are slower than you because you see the goal and you're like, I'm after it. But there's also great things about reds. So keep that in mind. Look at all the things right here. Take a picture, take a screenshot of this red, right? You're not afraid to stand out. You love to lead. You love to focus on the bottom line. You know what your goal is. Okay, now we're going to talk to our yellows. Did you see I started with the reds because the reds are like, I just want to know what this is about, right? Now the yellows, here's our people. You guys, your keyword is relationship. You're driven by a team and helping others. Your question is, who can I help? Who benefits from this? Who will be alongside with me? Who gives me support? Who can I support? Yellows don't like adversity. They don't like confrontation. I mean, none of us really do, but yellows really, really don't. The yellows are inspired by teamwork, and they love being the servant leaders. They love gathering people. They love helping anybody with anything. They're the people that come first to set up, and they're the last ones to leave because they want to make sure that everything's put away. Even if they're not on your team, they'll stay till the very last person leaves and they'll clean up. They will wash dishes when they come to your house, and just because they're in the sink, right? So they'll vacuum your house if you ask them to. So the yellows are really good team members. They're also the huggers. So if you see a yellow or you are a yellow, you're probably like, oh, hi, I'm so glad to see you. And the reds are like, okay, thank you very much. Here's my personal space, right? So it's really interesting to kind of start thinking about your team members, your customers, people in your family, and start like being a color detective, right? Like kind of put these colors in the back of your head and say, I wonder if this is what they are. Yellows are great listeners, and they're very, very kind. They're even-tempered, very tolerant, very adaptable. They like secure relationships, and they want the time to nurture them. They're very sensitive, soft-spoken, sincere, genuine, well-mannered. They like to have the big picture, so they kind of know where they're needed. What's their purpose? They want to make sure no one's left behind. So yellow leaders are always like, oh, I invited my whole team. we got to make sure everyone's going to do the challenge with us so we can all do it together, right? And the reds are like, I'm just going ahead. And the greens are like, we'll talk about greens and blues later. But yellows want to include everyone. They limit risk level by doing a lot of preparation, and they gather their thoughts before they express themselves. They want people to appreciate them. They don't lie because it causes conflict. They're also the ones who want to manage and unite the team. They don't like to see conflict in the team or with customers and the company or anything like that. They're great networkers, and a lot of yellows are teachers because they're great with their listening skills. Yellows want everyone to be happy, and they sometimes stay silent instead of speaking up because they just want to keep the peace. Yellows have the gift of encouragement and empathy. They tend to have great insights into people, but they don't want to offend anybody, so they don't say anything. We need to hear what you guys want to say. Yellows have a lot to say. It's okay to say it. So if you have yellows on your team, they're very stable and empathetic. They're very compassionate and sensitive. They're extremely, extremely loyal, and they put people above projects. So they're very dependable, agreeable. They are people oriented. They want to know how many cats you have, what the names of your dogs are, how many grandkids are you, where do you go on vacation, what kind of Starbucks do you like, where did you go to school, how many brothers and sisters. Like, they want to know the whole history of you. Why did you start your business? Where do you live? Why did you move there? Like, all that stuff, right? They're going to ask you all the little questions. They're very good two-way communicators because they want to give you support and empathy. Yellows do make decisions much slower than reds. They want the input of others. They kind of want a consensus. They want to do polls. They want to ask everyone, what do you guys think? I'm a yellow, so I do that a lot. I do a lot of polls and I ask, what do you guys think? A lot, which is good and bad in a yellow leader, because you could wait forever for everyone to agree, or wait for everyone to put their answer into a poll before you move forward. So they are very adjustable to many things. So the troublesome side of the yellows is that they're sometimes emotionally insecure and they avoid conflict, even if the results would be a healthy result. They sometimes bottle up their emotions, and sometimes they're gullible and indecisive because they want to make sure everyone has the right answer and everyone feels good about doing it together. Typical shade, they're very friendly, loyal, honest. They thrive on team activities, family things, community things. They really are turned off by materialism, and they really avoid conflict. So true shade, they are the ultimate team members because they're really good supporters and cheerleaders, and they're natural peacemakers. So that's our yellow. So look at all the great, personality traits of this color. Okay, now we're going to go to our greens. We have some greens on this call too. Does this make sense for the people that are like reading this? Yeah, I see a lot of nodding heads.
Oh, yes,
So,
the red and yellow definitely speak out to me.
yeah, that's you, right? Yellow and red. Yeah. That's what I thought you were before you took the test. And so I asked you to take the test, and I was like, okay, my color detective skills are still working. Okay, so greens. The focus is on how. How does this work? How can I make it better? How can I succeed? How are the reviews? How good are the reviews? How is quality tested? How can I use this to better myself? How can I grow my team? How, right? You're driven by method or planning, and you inspire other people through planning and by your meticulous note taking. Like, that's a big deal, right? The greens are our note takers and question askers. If you need to find something that you saw in your company 2 years ago, ask a green, because they will have the notes and they'll know where to find it, and they will be able to post it for you. They're very analytical. They're the ones who will do the math and say, okay, this is a great sale because this is how much money we're actually saving. This is how much it usually is. This is the sale. This is how much money you're going to save. They like to stay within the lines. Our greens are usually the ones that use one color highlighter. I use like 10 different highlighter colors and color pencils because otherwise it all just looks the same because I'm blue. Greens like order, they like neatness. They're very slow decision makers because they need to have all the research before they make the best decision. They crave information. These are our analytical, detail-oriented, thorough team members. They love facts, especially when they're documented. So they want the clinical studies. They want the ingredients. They want, where's this thing made? How long does it take to get here? They like established systems. So it's like, if I do this, what's next? If I do this, what's next? What is the order of things for onboarding somebody? What are the steps for asking someone to host a party? What are the things I need to do to rank up to the next level? Those are all the questions. They like to read reviews, even if they're buying a stapler, because they have to buy the best stapler, not just a stapler, but the best stapler, which is great because then I can say, okay, you greens, what's the best stapler? And they tell me, and I don't have to do the research. So it's really, really great. They will also have a plan to use that stapler and a budget so it doesn't negatively affect the bottom line. They do their research so that it really makes the most sense. They're good at following and good at planning. They're definitely the industrious and compassionate, orderly, methodical people who do the research. They're the ones who have the facts. You cannot argue with the green. You really can't, because they have notes and they can prove what they know. They'll be like, no, that's not right because this on this date, this person said this, and here's all the research, here's all the clinical studies, and here's what, you know, these 3 people said about it. So this is serious. So our greens are very intuitive and like to have things very controlled. They want to be thoughtful and they want to have a deep sense of purpose before they do something. They need to know how and a little bit of the why. They're also really good cheerleaders for other colors. They follow the rules and they want other people to follow them too. They have studied all the people on your team and on their team. They know what people like. They know what people don't like. They probably have lists about what people do and don't like, and they'll make little comments about stuff. It's really interesting. Sometimes they take things very seriously and they miss the jokes because they're like, well, that can't really happen. So you have to, you know, remember that and give them a little grace. Greens need to plan ahead. So if you're going to do a party as a green, you want to tell the host, we're going to do this 5 days ahead. We're going to do this 3 days ahead. We're going to do this the day of. If you have a green host, they want to know what all the details. Well, what happens if someone wants to order this? What happens if someone wants to order this? What happens if the website isn't working? What happens if, you know, all the what ifs? They want to know, have a backup plan so that everything runs smoothly, because they're thinking of the best case scenario and the worst case scenario so that they have a plan B. They're very, very analytical. Greens, though, because they're so analytical, can sometimes get in analysis paralysis because they're so intent on the research, the data, calculating the return on investment. They won't lie because they just don't. They know everything, so we don't even question them. And if we do, they have the facts. They always win arguments because they just know. They do have a troublesome side, where they overanalyze things and they're unable to take the first step. They just need to know so much about like how to do it that they're like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. I really need to know how to do the how. So help the greens make the first step. Typically, they're really great analytical thinkers and problem solvers, and they're really good at taking notes and keeping track. So if you're doing a contest in your Facebook page, the greens usually have who commented this many times, who's a business person, who's a customer. This person commented at the last contest. This person won the last 3 contests. So we can't, you know, like they're really good at keeping notes like that. So keep them as part of your planning team. They're really good at planning. So help them do their best. All right, so let's move to the blues. There's a few of us blues, and I'll tell you that it's funny to be a leader as a blue because it's hard to lead a team as a blue because people like structure, and blues are the antithesis structure. We're driven by fun or purpose. Why are you telling me about that? Why should this interest me? Why should I make a change? Why should I not make a change? Why should I even pay attention? Is it going to be fun? Because if it's not fun, then I probably don't want to do it. So keep that in mind. We want to know why. Why should we do it? Why is it important? Why should we do it this way? We're always asking why. I've been asking why since I was a little kid. You can ask all my teachers. Blues are very good motivators. We love finding out the other colors why. If you ever text with a blue, they use so many emojis, it drives other colors crazy. We get bored really, really easily. So we can buffer and do all the things except what we're supposed to do. We're action oriented. That makes sense, right, Jennifer? We're very action oriented. So it's like we got to do something, and sitting is really hard for us. We love using hashtags, emojis, different color pencils, and different notebooks. I mean, like it's got to be all the different sticky notes, all that stuff. We want to include everyone in our emotions, and that also leads to low focus. We get lost in the scroll hole. We're listening to you, but we're also probably doing something else. So even though we're not looking at you, we're still listening to you. So blues have that really weird ability to be able to do that. There's usually never a dull moment around a blue. We don't have a schedule, and that's part of what blues do. It's been very hard. And Jennifer and I coached on this today about making a schedule that blues can stick to, because it's something that's going to help your business. So blues tend to fill up their schedules with spontaneous activities because we just never know what's going to happen. So the Social Selling Academy that we're doing together in the coaching has really helped me as a blue focus in on like, once I get these things done, then I can go play. Blues, we are highly distractible, and we're often very late because we spend more time at the last place than we planned, or we just don't pay attention to the time. We're also very trusting, which can be good and bad. Long term for a blue is 5 minutes. So keep that in mind. We like to change our mind a lot. We're very playful and like to have fun, but sometimes other colors think we're irresponsible and don't think about the consequences of our actions, which is kind of true. We love the experience, but not always focusing on the outcome. We can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. There's a joke that I just go to Grocery Outlet and I can talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere, anytime about chicken nuggets or, coconut chips, whatever. For reds, it's A to B, right? For blues, it's A to V to K to O to B. Like we eventually get there, but reds get really impatient with blues because they're like, oh my gosh, just get on track, get with the program, do what's expected of you, and like, let's go there. And blues are just like, okay, I'm going to take the scenic route. We're just going to do something different. Also, you might think that blues lie, but it's really because they don't remember what they told you, because they're not paying attention. They're just talking all the time, right? So that's kind of some of the things that blues do. They can often also do one-way talking because they're talking. So listening is really a skill to focus on as a blue. Decision-making, usually emotional, intuitive, fast. We make a lot of right calls, and we also make a lot of wrong calls because we don't prepare, especially for worst case scenarios, because usually we'll try and turn it into a positive. So Other colors might just get irritated because it's not always positive, but it's like, but it's not always negative. That's kind of how blues look at it. Greatest needs of a blue are social activities and activities that are fun and freedom from details. So it doesn't always match when you're a leader as a blue because your team's looking for organization, structure, details, the goal. So for a blue, it's really focusing on the people on your team and trying to help them reach their goals and then have fun while you're doing it. Let's see, what else? Okay, so here's a good slide that kind of gives you a little bit more about all the different colors and how they all kind of match. I'm going to send you all these slides or whatever, Jennifer, so you can post them too. So that might be helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think something as a leader, we should be looking at being color detectives because that helps you start paying attention to the actions and the behaviors and the personality traits of your friends and families, coworkers, neighbors, people that you just meet for the first time in your everyday encounters, right? Like you leave your house, it's kind of nice to have something in the back of your head like, oh, this person's really red. They're dressed like really in a suit. They've got their briefcase, they've got their phone, they're like on time. They just want to get to the point. They don't need to know that it rained 2 weeks ago and that I got the dog, like the dog got in the mud. Like they don't need to know that, right? So they just want to get to the point. So if you're meeting with a red to talk about the business, talk about the business. They don't need all the chit chat behind them. They want to know what's in it, what is this business going to do for me? How is it going to get me to my goal? If you're doing a class, a class or like an event, a party, your reds want to know what can they earn and what are they going to get for hosting a class, or what are they going to learn? What do they get out of it? So you can tell people to say like, come to my house, or let's set up a party for you on Tuesday from 5 to 10, and we're going to talk about the products and how they're going to improve your home. We're going to go over this part of the products. We're going to do this for your customers. We're going to have snacks, and then we're going to show people how to order. We're going to have time to talk about the business, and we're going to talk about how people can rank up and how I made this a real deal. Bring 1 or 2 people, and when they buy their products, you can earn this. And then, so they just want to know what is going to happen, right? For a yellow to host a party or to have a class, you can say, hey, I'm having this at my house to learn how to use these products in my house so that it's easier for me to save time, make good meals, to be healthy, whatever, right? We will have a lot of my friends there. I'll have neighbors. You can bring as many friends as you want. We'll get to connect while we learn how to use this tool or these oils and we'll share some recipes, and everyone will get to try out these products. You can help spread the word about this party, and you can order your own set. You can have your own whatever, and then you can help so many people get these products in their house. And guess what? You can help everyone make some extra money because everyone can use a little extra money. So you're talking to the yellows in their community. For greens, you can say, if it's a host that you're trying to talk to, you can say, hey, come over to my house. We're going to do this party, and I'm going to give you information about how each of these products will help you in the kitchen, in your home, be a better chef, be a better oiler, whatever. You can ask lots of questions. You can look at how things work. You can look at the owner's manual. You can look at how people use them in their house. You can have snacks, and you can help me follow the recipes to make sure I'm doing them correctly. You can see what's in the business bundle, so you can decide what you want to do. bring some friends and learn along with them, take notes so that you can answer their questions later. So you're helping them be the research person, right? And then for the blues, all you have to say is, come over, we're going to have snacks and it's going to be fun. So, right. Like that's kind of how it is. So colors are important. There's secondary colors as well. They can change, right? They can change depending on how you're growing. They can change if you're being the mom, or they can change if you're doing your business. And think about it. You're a leader of something and of someone. Someone's always watching you. Your team can be your family. Your team can be your coworkers. Your team can be your neighbors or your little community. If you're in a pickleball community team, that's your team, right? So everyone's watching you. They're always watching you. So it's really interesting and a good idea to get to know what other people's colors are. And you can grow into different colors. You're not stuck in the color that you just found out about. I think you can use the colors as a clutch or a crutch, as a tool or a weapon. I used to say, oh, I don't pay attention to details, I'm blue. And that would kind of like make my team mad because I would use it as an excuse. So now, because I know I'm blue and I know they want details, they want advance notice, like not 5 minutes before the class is going to start, they need to plan a little bit, right? They want to know, why should they come to this training? What are they going to learn? How is it going to help them with their business? How's it going to help them grow their team? How's it going to help them grow themselves? So for a blue, it's really honed me in to thinking about my team members and the colors that they are and how to communicate to them. And I think that helps us grow as a team better, because then I can call on people who have the skills that I don't have and the colors that that aren't my top colors, so we can all help each other. It's been really, really good. So try to think if there's anything else. And if you guys have any questions, let me see if there's anything else. Okay. Oh, you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram, just with my name. Jennifer knows how to connect with me. And stop sharing my screen. Okay. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, we're gonna open it up to if anybody wants to ask any questions. That was awesome, and I really appreciate you doing this, Siobhan.
Yeah, it was fun. I think it's going to really help you guys as a team.
Yeah, and I will post the recording once I get it downloaded to all the chats, and then I'll send it to you, Yvonne, so you can share it with your team.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anybody have any questions?
Did you learn anything about yourself?
I do. I love this whole concept, but I mean, you're definitely a blue, but we're all mixed. Like
Yeah.
we're not 100% blue, right?
Right. You don't really want to be one color, right? I don't think that
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's possible either. My sister's very red and very green, and I'm blue and yellow. So we're complete opposites. She is a very big go-getter, and she's like, we're gonna do this, and this is the outcome. And I'm like, well, that doesn't sound fun. She goes, it doesn't have to be fun. We're just gonna do it. I'm like, right. So she's my upline, and she's also at the top of the company. So I'm like, all right, she did get there some way. So I guess I could listen to her. So her husband is blue, so he and I can get along really well. But then we go off on tangents, and she's like, could we get back to the point? Can we get back like in the lane? Let's follow the path, right? That's kind of what it is. My sister is about 25%, 24, 23% of each color. So she's equally balanced, which makes it very interesting as a leader. I put in the chat, I'm 48% blue and 42% yellow. So that leaves very, very little red and almost no green.
Right. I
So
took
that's-
that test, but I can't remember. I need to go find it because I can't remember what my deals were, but I love this whole concept.
Does it make sense? Like does it make sense as you look at yourself? And does it make sense as you look at like, oh, my husband or my parents or my kids or like my best friend? Does it make sense?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I think it's cool. So thanks.
Sure.
We have some questions in the chat, and one is, how do secondary colors play into things?
Okay. Secondary colors. It's kind of the same concept. That's still your primary colors is what kind of drives you, and your secondary colors like your backup. And sometimes you switch between them. You're not always your prime color all the time, right? Like when you're with your family, you might be a little bit more yellow because you're about gathering everyone and making sure everyone's taken care of and that everyone's voice is heard. Whereas if you're like on your team and it's at the end of the month, you might be like, okay, I got to pull my red out because this is what we need to do. And this is how we're going to do it, right? We got to get to this amount of sales or whatever in this amount of time. I'm going to analyze all my information and figure out where it needs to go. And that might be a green too, like, okay, these are my legs. This is the leg that I need to focus on the most. But that green might also be able to, be green at home too, right? Like I can organize our family's finances. I can organize our family's activities. I can organize everyone's stuff. Like it can be a good thing in home and in business. I think the secondary colors, I think you just have to watch them and make sure that one isn't dominating you. And I think the other thing is your goal and role is not to change the other person. Your goal and your role is to lift them up and equip them to be the best in their color and give them opportunities to shine in their color. So I guess the biggest mistake that I see in myself and other people when we're doing so much self-development is to learn it all and then try to tell other people what to do versus like apply it to ourselves, right? So I guess lead in your color and communicate in other people's colors. And that's why it's important, I think, to know what other people's colors are. Like my son is very green. He wants to know, okay, mom, we're going to Mount Hood. How long is it going to take there? How many people are we going? How long are we going to be there? What are we going to do there? How long are we going to do it? Where are we going to eat? Like he wants to know everything. My other son is blue. He's like, just get in the car. Austin, just get in the car, right? So it's very interesting to know the different colors because Austin, I'd be like, oh my gosh, why do you need to know that? But for his sense of security and his sense of self, he needs to know those things. So now that I know those things, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick you up at the airport. This is where I'm going to meet you. Then we're going to go have lunch. Then we're going to come home. Then we're going to unpack. Then we're going to go do this, this, and this. You're going to meet these people. So it kind of gives his nervous system a little bit of relief, right? So he's not anxious. And then I'm not irritated because I'm like, why do you need to know all this stuff, right? So it's really, really been helpful for our family communication. Flora, you're muted.
Have your sons taken the test? Are they aware of what they are?
Yeah, everyone that I know that's related to me has taken the test. Everyone on my team has taken the test. Whether I remember it or not, that's a whole nother thing, right? Because I know the green people on my team have probably written all that stuff down and they have a list. Me, the blue, I'm like, okay, I know we all took the test and I know you guys wrote down your answers somewhere, but I don't remember where it is. I kind of know the colors enough to know what people are. I made my kids take the color test as soon as I knew about it because I said, this is going to help me understand you more. And when Austin took the test and he showed up green, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. It wasn't irritating anymore, right? Because as a mom, I'm like, why do you need to know all these things?
I haven't done it, so I don't know.
Yeah, take the test, I think, and have your kids take the test. Have your husband take the test.
Oh, I will. I want him
Yeah.
to see what, well, he probably said, yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
But
but that's okay. That's okay.
no, I
And
know
you
it's
can
totally fine,
you can
but
you can also guess what you think your kids and your husband are and see how, and that start practicing your color detective
I
skills.
already did because when you summarized it, I was like, oh, you just made a picture of him.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's-
So yeah, you did good, what do you call it? Brief breakdown of all the colors.
Oh, good. Great.
Well said. So, I mean, enough for me to picture what that person is like.
Yes,
Thanks.
sure.
Yes, thank you very much. This was awesome. Does anybody else have any other questions? I know some of the leaders on here, we have to do a leader meeting at 8, so.
You guys are almost done. Okay, we have 6 minutes. Sheila, you're off mic. Did you have something to say?
No, I think because my laptop dropped Wi-Fi and I just signed back in is the only reason.
Okay, all right, great.
Yeah,
Well,
she left the link for the test. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't ask for it.
Okay, good.
So, well, thanks, Yvonne.
Sure.
And Jennifer. Jennifer? Is that
Yes.
her name?
Yes,
Okay.
that's my name. It's PH. Everybody calls me PH. Ask Kelly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. There was something else after, and I was like, wait, it looks like Jennifer, but something else. Well, thank you.
You know,
Absolutely.
welcome. I appreciate Yvonne taking the time to do this, and I am going to ask my team to stay, and I will do a drawing for Happy Mail for showing up.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks a bunch.
You're welcome. And I'm gonna stop recording really quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.